प्रपन्नाहं सदा श्यामा गुरु पादारविन्दयो तस्य प्रेरणया तस्य दिव्यादेशं वदाम्यहम्। करारविन्देन पदारविन्दम् मुखारविन्दे विनिवेशयन्तम् भटस्य पत्रस्य पुटेशयानम् बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि। अहो चित्रमहो चित्रम् वन्दे तत्प्रेमबन्धनम् यद्बद्धं मुक्तिदं मुक्तं ब्रह्मक्रीडा भृगीकृतम् यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तद्ब्रह्म देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशम् मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। The divine souls, please join me in a few minutes of Nam Sankirtan. We can all do Roop Dhyan on the beautiful form of Radha Krishna while we chant their divine names. Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe
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 Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे 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 राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
ओ राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
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 गोविंद राधे
बोलो गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद 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 गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे
जय हो
गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद 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 गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
बोलो गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद 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 Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe.
बोलो वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की। Welcome back to the continuation of this series where I'm addressing some important questions related to Hinduism. Yesterday we looked at the most basic question. What is the purpose of our life? What is our ultimate goal? And we understood that on one level we can say our ultimate goal is to attain perfect happiness, but then we understood beyond that, that perfect happiness is God. And we understood beyond that, that even within the divine realm, there are different levels of divine bliss. Brahmanand, Aishwaryanand, Premanand. This is also just in very general terms. There are many more levels, sub-levels within that, but at this time, we're not going to go into that much detail. So we understood yesterday that Premanand, the divine love of Radha and Krishna, is the supreme bliss of the divine world, and that is the ultimate goal of a soul. So that is the aim of everybody's life. That is our prayojan. Even having understood this, there are many doubts that remain in a person's mind, and many of you sitting here may have this doubt that I'm going to address tonight, or you may be faced with people, friends, colleagues, who have this doubt and ask you. The question is it illogical to believe in something you've never seen? We're not saints. The definition of a saint is someone who's seen God. For a saint to believe in God makes sense. They have what we call pratyaksh praman, direct eyewitness proof of God's existence. They've met God face to face. They've met Shri Krishna or whatever form of God they worshipped. They met face to face. So now it makes perfect sense for them to believe in God. They've seen God with their own eyes. But we are not at that stage. We haven't seen God. Then is it logical for us to believe in God? Some people of a scientific mindset would say, no, that's what you call blind faith. It's not rational to believe in something you haven't perceived or experienced. We could also turn the question and look at it from this angle. Could science ever prove God's existence? And if science, not if, we know that as of yet, science has not proven God's existence. So if science can't prove God exists, does it make sense to believe in God? Let's understand the logic behind this. And in the end, I'll show you that science has a place in the world, but the place of science is not the realm of God. And it does make logical sense to believe in something you haven't experienced yet. Let's understand it this way. There are three types of evidence. One I just told you. Pratyaksh praman means you have a direct experience. Like there's a fire burning. You can see the fire burning. You know there's a fire. You don't need anyone to tell you that's a fire. You don't need any other evidence. You've seen the fire for yourself. Right now, we don't have that type of evidence of God's existence, but there's a very good reason why. although God is omnipresent, we can't see him or experience him, right? Why not? Some philosophers have said, if God exists and you're saying God is omnipresent, you should be able to experience him. If I mix sugar into my water and drink it, I'm going to taste the sweetness. Now the sugar is pervading the water, and you're telling me God is perfect happiness and he pervades the whole atmosphere, so we are all swimming in the ocean of divine bliss and not tasting any of it? Some philosophers have said that doesn't make sense. That proves that God doesn't exist. If he did exist, we would all experience him. But there's a reason why we can't experience him because of our current situation. I'll take one mantra from Kathopanishad. Indriyebhyah parahyartha arthebhyascha param manah manasastu para buddhir buddhiratma mahan parah mahatah paramavvyaktat purushah parah purushan na param kinchit sa kashtha sa paragati. Your senses can perceive the objects of the world, but they can't perceive your man. Man is a part of your mind. It's the emotional mind. So it is said that man is beyond your indriya. Your senses can't perceive your emotional mind, so it's beyond your senses. But beyond man is buddhi. The intellectual mind is more subtle than the emotional mind. Beyond buddhi is the soul. See, our own soul can neither be perceived by our senses, nor can it be understood by our mind, because soul is beyond senses and mind. What's beyond the soul? Maya. Soul is under the bondage of Maya, and Maya is beyond our soul. What's beyond Maya? God. And what's beyond God? Nothing. So everything is under God. But when our senses can't even perceive our own mind, and neither the senses nor the mind can reach the soul or Maya, then why is it any mystery why we can't perceive God? Yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya na vedasah avigyatam vijanatam vigyatam avijanatam. Kenopanishad says, the one who thinks they can know God with their material intellect is completely ignorant. The one who has understood that God is completely beyond material senses and mind understands the truth. So it's simple. God is divine. How could we perceive God with our Mayic senses? God is divine. How could we know God with our material intellect? It doesn't make sense. It would be like if someone told you to try to see with your ears. They said, hey, I made this nice painting. Have a look. And they put it up to your ear. You'd look at them like, something wrong. Up here, what happened to you today? I see with my eyes, I hear with my ears. And they may argue, no, your eyes are Mayic, and your ears are Mayic, and my painting is Mayic, so you should be able to grasp this painting with any of your senses. They're all Mayic. You say, no, even within the Mayic realm, there are limitations. Ears perceive sound, eyes perceive light and form. So when there are limitations even within the material realm, what to say then of these material senses trying to perceive God, who is beyond Maya and who is divine? God is the one who gives life to our senses. It's with His power, having received His power, that our eyes see and our ears hear. So imagine if those eyes that are being powered by God could claim that I can see God. This mind is so great. Our mind is being powered by God as well. My mind is so great that I can know God. That would be like one of these light bulbs challenging the powerhouse that's giving it the power. If the powerhouse removes its power, all the lights are worthless, useless. Similarly, our mind cannot challenge God that I can know you. He's unlimited, our mind is limited. He's divine, our mind is Mayic. So it makes sense that we can't have pratyaksh praman right now. That type of proof is not available to us to prove God's existence. What about the second type of proof? Anumana praman. We deduce things all the time in the world. If you were unable to see the fire, but let's say it was a big fire nearby in one of the nearby forests, and you saw a big cloud of smoke in the sky. Even without seeing the flames, you could infer that there's a fire nearby. Doctors use this type of proof all the time as well. Even when they don't see exactly, they may not be able to find the exact microbe that's causing your problem or virus that's causing your problem, but looking at your symptoms, they may be able to deduce what illness you have. So we, in the absence of pratyaksh praman, we rely on anumana praman. Now, when it comes to God, people have given some arguments that may pacify our intellect to some degree, like saying that, the clock on the wall required a maker. Someone had to make that clock. It didn't just come into existence on its own, now did it? And if anyone tried to tell you that that clock just accidentally, randomly, through some random series of fortunate events, that clock came into being, you would say, again, you've lost it. How can something like that come into being on its own? It requires someone with the knowledge of how to make a clock, the desire to make a clock, the materials at hand to make that clock. Then the person has to make the effort to do it. Only then the clock comes into being. And even after it's come into being, you still need someone with the expertise to repair it when it breaks down. In other words, to maintain it and keep it running. So when something as simple as a clock requires all of that, someone could argue, how could you think this universe would just come into being of its own random good luck? That all of this was produced, this systematic universe with solar systems in motion, within galaxies that are in motion, within clusters of galaxies that are in motion, within superclusters of galaxies that are in motion, and everything is perfectly synchronized. And all of that came into being randomly, by chance. Someone could argue that no, there must be some supreme power and some supreme intelligence behind it. There had to be someone with the knowledge to create this, the desire to create it, the materials at hand to create this universe, and who's also upholding the laws of the universe that allow all of this to continue to function. And that would be God. So there are plenty of arguments like that that have been made in the scriptures for someone to give a logical, inferential argument for God's existence. But such inferential arguments cannot be accepted as a final proof. of God's existence. The doctor who relies on the symptoms has prior knowledge. There's been research done that this microbe causes these symptoms. So I may not be able to test right now to see if that's there, but I can tell because I've seen it before. But none of us have that type of prior knowledge of God's creating this universe. So in the end, inferential evidence fails to prove God's existence. So right now, we don't have the ability to see God. So we don't have pratyaksh praman to prove God's existence. Anumana praman can also not be accepted as a final proof of God's existence. So is it okay to rely on the third type of proof in the absence of the first two? Shabda praman, testimonial evidence. Our Vedas say, pratyakshena va yastupayo na buddhyate. If, in the case that pratyaksh praman and anumana praman fail to prove the existence of something, then you have to go to tasmad vedasya vedata. You have to go to Vedas. Ved is the ultimate proof and the ultimate authority. If Ved says it exists, then it exists. Now here someone might say, wait a minute, why should I accept somebody else's word for something if I haven't seen it myself and if I can't prove it logically? The fact is, we do this all the time in the world. In this world, we are always prepared, or at least many times, we're prepared to accept testimonial evidence for very important things. But we hesitate in the spiritual field to do this. For example, I have no video of me being born. Nor do I have a DNA test proving that my parents are who they say they are. So then why do I accept who my mother is and who my father is? Because they told me. I'm your mother. I'm your father. Such an important thing. You think it's possible that in the history of the world, has any mother or father ever lied to their kids and said they were the mother and father when they actually weren't? Or maybe the mother is the mother, but the father isn't the father. That's also possible. I'm sure it's happened. Then why do we all take our parents' word for it? We don't go out and get a DNA test. We don't have any video evidence of us being born. They told us, and we accept them. This is a good example of something really important in this world, that we take on someone else's word. There's something else really obvious that we all accept, yet we've never seen, and that is many other countries. Even someone who travels a lot might have seen 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 countries in this world, but there are almost 200 different countries in the world. If you haven't been to that country and seen it with your own eyes, why do you believe it exists? You don't have any eyewitness proof of it. You don't have any logical proof of its existence. What do you have? You have a geography textbook telling you that country exists, or you have another person who maybe visited that country and told you, yes, I went to Switzerland. Switzerland is there. It's not just a story made up by other people. I went there and saw Switzerland is real. And you say, okay, Switzerland is real. You've never seen it yourself. What if there was a big conspiracy in the world to make you believe that France exists. If you've never been there, isn't it possible that a bunch of people got together one day and decided, let's make up a story about the existence of a country that is not real, and we'll create some fake history about this country, and we'll add it to all the geography and history books and try to see if people will believe in this country? Isn't that possible? I suppose it's a little far-fetched. But if you haven't been there and seen it for yourself, how do you know that's not the case? You say, no, everybody says it's so. Okay, you're so quick, it's so easy for you to accept other people's word for things. So when saints tell you, I've seen God, God is real, why don't you accept that? They've been to that foreign country and they've come back and said, it's real, I saw it with my own eyes. God is like a foreign country for us. We don't even have the passport or the visa to allow us to go over there. But the saints do. They go and they come back and they tell us God is real. Not only that, but they also point out the path to God. See, if it was just a case of the Vedas and the saints saying, God exists, I'm telling you he exists, so you have to believe me. But there was no chance of us ever experiencing God, then what's the sense believing? Believing has to lead to something. You can get on a plane and go to a foreign country, right? That rasta is there for you. There's a path for you. If you want to prove to yourself that some foreign country exists, you can travel to that country and you can see it for yourself. So, Ved and saints, they also say there's a path to God. You can see God. You can get pratyaksh praman for God's existence. But you have to follow the path. You can't just stay where you are, like someone sitting in America saying, nope, I don't believe Switzerland exists. You guys can, all you people who say you've been to Switzerland, you can keep talking. I don't care. I'm not going to believe you. And they say, oh, well, come with us. We'll show you Switzerland. Really, it exists. Come with us. And you say, no, I refuse to follow the path to Switzerland, and I refuse to believe you that Switzerland exists. So all the people who have been to Switzerland and seen it, they can just shake their head. There's nothing more they can do to help us. Similarly, a saint who has seen God and is seeing God. Once you get God realized, you have divine senses. Everywhere you look, you're seeing Krishna. So imagine that saint who is seeing God. He has pratyaksh praman, and he's telling us souls, I can show you the path so you can also see God. And we say, neither do I want to follow your path to God, nor am I going to take your word for God's existence. If you can't show me God right now, I'm not going to believe in him. You at least have to get on the plane and go to Switzerland. No one can show you Switzerland from here. You might say, oh, someone could FaceTime me from Zurich or something like that. No, but how do you know he's actually there? He could be on a movie set somewhere. Could be a green screen. You have to go there. So the saints are helpless if we are unwilling to follow the path and we're unwilling to take their word for it. We just sit stubbornly and say, first show me God, then I'll believe in God, then I'll follow the path to God. That's like saying, give me my university degree first, then I'll enroll in your program and take all the classes and give all the exams. Nobody does that in the world. It's like saying, give me the mangoes first, Then I'll plant a mango grove, water it, tend it. I want the fruit before the labor. It doesn't work in the world, nor does it work in the spiritual world. Seeing God is siddhi. That's the end goal. You can't ask for that now. First, we have to do sadhana. Sadhana means what you do to achieve siddhi. So we have to put the work in. Even if God did show himself to us right now, because he does that during his avatar, it wouldn't benefit us. You might say, just show yourself to me once so that, I can have faith in you, then I'll do sadhana. That wouldn't work either. Because without divine eyes, even if God actually made his body visible to you right now, you wouldn't benefit because you wouldn't realize his divinity. The amount of happiness you get from some person that you love in this world would be more than the amount of happiness you would get if you're seeing Krishna standing in front of you. The saints with divine eyes get unlimited bliss seeing Krishna stand in front of them. And we would expect the same. So when we saw Shri Krishna in front of us, we would say, oh, that's it? That's what all the fuss is about? Why should I work so hard to attain him? I just saw him. I didn't find anything special in him. I didn't feel any happiness even. I feel a lot happier looking at my child or my friend or my husband or my wife than I do seeing Krishna. Why should I follow the path to God? I'll be fine here in the world. In other words, our faith in God would be damaged because we were unqualified and we were given something beyond our qualification. So it wouldn't even help us if Krishna showed himself to us right now. Our faith would go down instead of increasing. So the proper procedure is get educated, learn what the scriptures and saints are teaching us about God, decide to accept that Shabda Praman, the testimonial evidence of the scriptures and saints, as a starting point. Yes, I believe you, but I want to see what you've seen. So based on what you've told me, I'm going to practice. I'm going to follow the path to God, and I'll get the ultimate evidence. And luckily for us, you don't have to wait until God realization to get any kind of evidence at all. It's not like a dry practice for lifetimes until finally you reach your goal and then you see God. It's a gradual process of actually opening up the ability of your mind and senses to experience God now in this life. Because as you practice bhakti and your mind is joined with God, God's Swarup Shakti, his personal divine power, starts to permeate into your mind. So your mind and senses start being permeated gradually, very slowly, like a dry sponge that has a drip of water going in it. It starts soaking up the water. So we start being able to not perceive in the way a saint perceives Krishna, but we start being able to just realize that he's around us. When we think of him in Rup Dhyan, sometimes we feel that I'm not just imagining, I'm actually seeing him. He's right here. So that experience goes on growing, which gives us the feedback we need to know that we're going in the right direction. So evidence is possible, but it has to be approached in the right way. And in fact, this is the way scientists approach science as well. If every 6th grade science student challenged their teacher that, No, I'm not going to believe that electrons exist until you can show me one. He'll say, that's a little ways off. You can see an electron. When you get to that level of scientific research, you can use certain technology and you can see it. But right now, you're just going to have to take my word for these things, and on the basis of that, learn, build up your knowledge, develop your skills in practicing the scientific process. One day, you'll be able to see them. So science also uses faith on those who have gone before. The great scientists that laid the foundation of the existing knowledge, we have faith in them. We accept that, we assume that what they've told us is true, and on the basis of that, we go ahead. Even scientists follow this same process. So we also do it in spirituality. We take the word of those who have gone before, and then we go further ahead. So in the end, we understand it is logical to have faith. Having faith is not an illogical thing. You have intelligent faith as a means of taking future steps to get the direct proof at a later time. We also know that science will never be able to prove God's existence because God is not the subject of our material senses. So if our material senses are unable to perceive God, and material technology is unable to amplify our ability to perceive to the point, because even if you could amplify our ability to see, hear, taste, touch, infinite times what it is, you still couldn't find God, because God isn't material. God is divine. So science will never reach God. The fact that science can't prove God's existence is not proof that God doesn't exist. It's proof of science's limitation. But luckily we have a spiritual science that shows us the way that we can prove God's existence through spiritual practices, through following the path of bhakti. This is where I'm going to stop today. Tomorrow, I'm going to discuss one more important aspect of this relationship between science and spirituality, because many people think if you follow the path to God, you don't need the world. And many people think, well, I'm a scientist or I'm a materialist and I don't need God. So on one hand, you have people saying, I have no need of this world, and on the other hand, you have people saying, I have no need of God. And this is an ages-old dispute between what we call bhautikvad and adhyatmavad. And most times people think one must be right and one must be wrong, but Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj has actually provided a reconciled view of the two that is a really good way. It provides a really good framework for living your life. It gives you a good perspective on how to integrate spirituality with material life. So that's the topic I'm going to take up tomorrow. And now we're going to do some Kirtan. So you can all turn to page 178. Because God is divine and our senses and mind are material, the only way to reach God is through God's grace. the whole path to God is just the means of purifying our mind so that we can receive God's grace, and then we can get divine senses, divine mind, and we can see God for ourselves. So in this Kirtan, we're chanting Kripa Karu, Kripa Karu, Kripa Karu Radhe. We're asking Radharani for her grace. Asking is part of the practice. When you ask, it means you believe in her. When you ask for her grace, it means that you're feeling humble. You're saying, I can't find you on my own. I need your grace. That's the feeling behind this Kirtan. And while we chant it, we can try to develop that feeling in our heart, the humble longing to receive the grace of Radharani. Kripa karu, kripa karu, kripa karu Radhe.
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 Kripa kahi tanu tora, 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 kripa karu Radhe.
झलक दिखा जा कृपा करु राधे.
झलक दिखा जा कृपा करू राधे.
झलक दिखा जा कृपा करु राधे.
झलक दिखा जा कृपा करू राधे.
कृपा करु राधे.
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 कृपा करू राधे.
मैं तो हूँ पतित अति, कृपा करु राधे.
मैं तो हूँ पतित अति, कृपा करू राधे.
मैं तो हूँ पतित अति, कृपा करु राधे.
मैं तो हूँ पतित अति, कृपा करू राधे.
भला हूँ बुरा हूँ जो हूँ, कृपा करु राधे.
भला हूँ बुरा हूँ जो हूँ, कृपा करू राधे.
भला हूँ बुरा हूँ जो हूँ, कृपा करु राधे.
भला हूँ बुरा हूँ जो हूँ, कृपा करू राधे.
कृपा करु राधे.
कृपा करू राधे.
कृपा करु राधे.
कृपा करू राधे.
कृपा करु राधे.
कृपा कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे
मैं हूँ दीनहीन अति 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 कृपा करो राधे
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 कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे
छोड़ू नहीं पाछा तोरा कृपा करो राधे
छोड़ो नहीं पाछा तोरा कृपा करो राधे
छोड़ू नहीं पाछा तोरा कृपा करो राधे
छोड़ो नहीं पाछा तोरा कृपा करो राधे
तू ही है गति गति कृपा करो राधे
तू ही है अगति गति कृपा करो राधे
तू ही है गति गति कृपा करो राधे
तू ही है अगति गति कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो राधे
ओ कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे
अशरण शरण तू 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 कृपा करो राधे
शरण शरण तोरी 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 कृपा करो राधे।
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 कृपा करो कृपा करो 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 कृपा करो राधे।
साधन बल नहीं 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 कृपा करो राधे।
न्याय न चाहूं 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 कृपा करो राधे।
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 कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
हाँ तो ही जानू नहीं 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 कृपा करो राधे।
माया ने सताया अति कृपा करो राधे।
माया ने कायनति कृपा करो राधे।
माया ने सताया अति कृपा करो राधे।
माया ने सताया अति कृपा करो राधे।
जग राग छूटे नहीं 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 कृपा करो राधे।
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 कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
भटकत थकी गयो कृपा करो राधे।
भटकत थकी गयो कृपा करो राधे।
भटकत थकी गयो कृपा करु राधे।
भटकत थकी गयो कृपा करो राधे।
देर जनि करु राधे कृपा करु राधे।
देर जनि करो राधे कृपा करो राधे।
देर बनी देर जनि करु राधे कृपा करु राधे।
देर जनि करो राधे कृपा करो राधे।
तू ही है कृपालु इक कृपा करु राधे।
तू ही है कृपालु एक कृपा करो राधे।
तू ही है कृपालु इक कृपा करु राधे।
तू ही है कृपालु एक कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु राधे
कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु राधे।
कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु कृपा करु कृपा करु राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु कृपा करु कृपा करु राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु कृपा करु कृपा करु राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु कृपा करु कृपा करु राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु कृपा करु कृपा करु राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु कृपा करु कृपा करु राधे।
बोलो कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु राधे।
कृपा करो राधे।
करु राधे।
कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु
जय हो।
कृपा करु राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु कृपा करू कृपा करु राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
कृपा करु कृपा करू कृपा करु राधे।
कृपा करो कृपा करो कृपा करो राधे।
बोलो लाडली लाल की
जय।
We can all stand for Arti.
लाडली लाल की
जय।
आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। दोहन सिर कनक मुकुट झलके, दोहन श्रुति कुंडल बल हलके, दोहन दृग प्रेम सुधा छलके, चसीले बैन रसीले नैन, गसीले सेन दोहन में नन मन हारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। ओ आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। दोहन दृग चितवनी परवारी, दोहन लट लट कनी छवि न्यारी, दोहन भो मटकनी अति प्यारी, रसन मुख पान हसन मुस्कान, दसन दम कान, दोहन बेसर छवि न्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। ओ आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। एक और पीताम्बर पहरे, एक और नीलाम्बर लहरे, दोहन और लर मोतिन चहरे, कंकनन कनक किंकिनिन झनक, नूपुरन भनक, दोहन रुन झुन धुनि प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। ओ आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। एक सिर मोर मुकुट राजे, एक सिर चूनरी छवि छाजे, ओ दोहन सिर तिरछे भल भ्राजे, संग ब्रज बाल लाडली लाल बाह गलदाल, कृपालु दोहन दृग चारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की।
श्री राम श्री राम, श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भजो मन, हरण भव भयदारुणं, नव कंजलोचन कंज मुख कर, कंज पद कंजारुणं, श्री राम श्री राम। कंदर्प अगणित अमित छवि नव नील नीरद सुंदरम, पटपीत मानहु तडित रुचि शुचि, नौमि जनक सुतावरम, पटपीत मानहु तडित रुचि शुचि, नौमि जनक सुतावरम, श्री राम श्री राम। भजु दीन बंधु दिनेश दानव दैत्य वंश निकंदनम, रघुनंद आनंद कंद कौशल्य चंद दशरथ नंदनम, रघुनंद आनंद कंद कौशल्य
चंद दशरथ नंदनम
श्री
राम श्री राम।
सिर मुकुट कुंडल तिलक चारु उदार अंग विभूषणम आजानुभुज शर चापधर संग्रामजित खरदूषणम आजानुभुज शर चापधर संग्रामजित खरदूषणम श्री राम श्री राम। इति वदति तुलसीदास शंकर शेष मुनि मनरंजनम मम हृदय कंज निवास कुरु कामादिखलदल गंजनम
मम हृदय कंज निवास करु कामादिखलदल गंजनम श्री राम श्री राम। श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भजु मन
हरण भव
भय दारुणम नव कंच लोचन
कंज
मुख कर कंज पद कंजारुणम
श्री
राम श्री राम। श्री राम श्री राम।
जयति जगत गुरु गुरुवर की
गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। गुरु पद मखमणि चंद्रिका प्रकाश जाके उर बसे ताके मोहत मनाश। जाके माथ नाथ तव हाथ करवास। ताते होए माया मोह सब ही निराश। पावे गति मति रति राधावर की। गाओ मिले आरती
रसिक वर की।
ओ गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। अरे मन मोर छांग नारी नर हाथ। गुरु बिनु ब्रह्म श्याम हो न देंगे साथ। कोमल कृपाल बड़े कृपा सिंधुनाथ। पाके इन्हें आज तो अनाथ हो सनाथ। इन्हीं के अधीन कृपा गिरिधर की। गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। गाओ गाओ मिले आरती
रसिक वर की।
भक्ति योग रस अवतार अभिराम। कर निगमागम समन्वय राम। श्यामा श्याम नाम रूप लीला गुण धाम। बाट रहे प्रेम निष्काम बिनु दाम। हो रही सफल काया नारी नर की। गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। लली लाल लीला का सलोना सुविलास। छाया दिव्य दृष्टि बिच प्रेम का प्रकाश। वैसा ही विनोद वही मंजू मृदुहास। करे बस बर बस उच्च अटहा। जय हो झूमी चले चाल वही नटवर की। गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। गाओ गाओ मिले आरती
रसिक वर की।
ओ जयति जगत गुरु गुरुवर की। गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की, गाओ गाओ मिले आरती रसिक वर की। श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की, साकेत बिहारी श्री राघवेंद्र सरकार की।